Hello everyone. So some of you may know me, but for those of you who don't, my name is Michelle and I am the founder of Find Your Spark, you'll see behind me, which I founded 10 years ago, initially to help at-risk young people raise their wellbeing, aspiration and resilience levels, and in essence find their spark. But then in the midst of all this, I moved from London to Colchester, and I realised that not only was there a need for working with parents, but also I felt that if I work with parents, I would have a much greater impact on the children. So this is predominantly what I do now. So whilst this webinar today is going to be about supporting your child with anxiety, it is more focused on you yourself as a parent. So I've designed some slides, which I will now share. There we go. So I've designed a 30-minute webinar, and the reason why I've chosen to only design 30-minute webinar is because I am conscious that at this time a lot of parents have got increased childcare responsibilities, and I don't want to take you away from spending quality time with your children and your loved ones. And also I'm conscious that given that we are a lot more on screens now, fortunately or unfortunately, depends how you see it, we are doing a lot more online calls, Zoom webinars, things like that, and a lot of people are feeling quite zoomed out, so I didn't want for you to feel zoomed out. So it's only going to be 30 minutes, but if you find this webinar interesting and it's giving you some insights, you want to find out more, please do get in contact with me. My details will be at the end of the webinar. So as you all know, we are living in a different time to even what we were living in a few months ago. I'm going to share with you a model which was shared to me by a colleague of mine, and I found it so useful that I wanted to pass it on and share it with others. So, yeah, we are living in a different time, and because of this, there may be a lot of loss experienced by some of you. And so this model is actually a bereavement model, but the same thing can be applied to COVID-19. So initially, a lot of people would have felt a great deal of shock at what was going on. And so therefore, because of that shock, they might be looking for evidence that what was happening wasn't true, so they would be a lot in denial, and this then would then move on to perhaps feeling anger at the situation or frustrated because things are different, and then eventually this could then lead to feeling quite depressed and low in mood and not having much energy. What is reassuring though is that there is an end in sight, so you don't stay in one stage forever. The only thing constant in life is change, so I think everything is impermanent. So just know that wherever you are at within this scale, know that you can move on to the next part of it, the next stage, which is good to know. But also, another model I wanted to share with you is that when this all came about, it was very apparent to me that a lot of people were very much in survival mode. So I didn't really put very much out to my Find Your Spark followers because I was conscious that people were very much figuring out things for themselves, were very much processing, trying to adapt to what was going on, and I didn't feel that I wanted to add to that at all. So let me just show you this model. So yeah, I didn't really feel like I wanted to add to that at all until people were in a bit more of a stable, secure space where they were more open to receive things. Because the first few weeks, a lot of people would have been very much in survival mode, and so would have been at the bottom of this hierarchy. And in fact, possibly still are now, and maybe for the foreseeable future, and that is okay, and that is very normal. So at the moment, the main priority for a lot of people is making sure they've got enough food, enough water, are getting enough rest, their immediate family are safe, they've got enough toilet paper, you know, things like that. That is their main priority. Things, anything above that is perhaps a bit too advanced for them at the moment. They need to focus on literally survival day by day. But know that if you are feeling like that, and if you are perhaps feeling frustrated at what's going on, and perhaps feeling a bit down about it all, if we look at how to handle this, again, this was shared to me by a colleague, it's all about being kind to ourselves right now, and self-care is really important. And what I mean by that is taking it much easier. There's a lot of things out there that are saying to people, now's the time to learn a language, now's the time to learn an instrument, now's the time to write a book. Now that's all very well and good. If you have the capacity and if you're able to, go for it. Yes, you have got the time now, so use the time, be productive if you are in that space. But for those of you who aren't and are literally just focused on making sure that they've got enough money coming in each month, focused on making sure their children are being homeschooled, don't put that added level of pressure on yourself. You know, just look after yourself, your mental health needs and your physical health needs. And think what that means is making sure you're getting adequate exercise, adequate rest, you know, having a good diet. I mean, we were all told this at school, but it really is, it's true. You know, fruit and vegetable is what makes us feel better. And surrounding yourself with people that make you feel good, be that virtually or people within your home. If there are people within your home that make you feel, you know, supported and listen to you and give empathy without trying to fix it for you, just give you that space to just kind of process whatever it is that's going on for you in your mind. Now, this leads me on to our children. So let's think about them for a moment. So how can we protect our children, especially at this time? This goes for all the time, but especially at this time. So in order for our children to feel calm and to feel at ease, their parent has to also feel balanced and emotionally regulated. And if parents are feeling anxious with what's going on at the moment, which, like I say, perfectly normal, imagine how it must then feel for a child who doesn't have the emotional maturity to handle what is going on. So that's why it's now more than ever, it is so important that we protect our children. And the best way we can do this is via attachment and attunement. So what I mean by this is, you know, giving our children, like smiling at them with our eyes, so that helps them feel good. Give them physical contact, touching, so they feel that they belong, and giving them good eye contact and really listening to what they have to say. Not when they're speaking, you're thinking of something else or doing something else. You give them that quality time. So here are some of the protective factors. So safe, stable, nurturing relationships that provide attunement give a child a feeling of belonging and attachment. So they are so crucial now more than ever. They also provide a sense of self-worth. And it only needs to be one parent or one adult who gives the child this. That's all a child needs to feel resilient. So if a parent feels resilient, then a child is also more likely to feel resilient. Okay, let's move on. So what calms anxiety? So like I say, the best way that we can help our children is to provide attachment and attunement, and not passing on our anxieties to our children and our stresses, because children are very much like sponges, and we want to reduce and prevent as much trauma as possible being passed on to them. And I'm totally aware that we are now in a much more stressful, challenging time for a lot of people, and much more traumatic. So it may be that more challenging to do so, but really be mindful of what you're speaking about in front of your child, what's on this TV in front of a child, be it the news or even a horror film. Just being really mindful of as much as possible. I appreciate there's going to be times that you're going to slip up, you're going to make mistakes. That's okay. Be kind to yourself, but really try your best not to pass on your own anxieties to your child. So there are lots of different ways that we can help calm the anxiety for ourselves as well as for our children. So one of the main ones that I am a big believer and advocate of is having a daily consistent routine. So this is good for you, and this is good for your child, so that your child knows what to expect and when. This leads to them feeling safe. And it's so crucial. It's literally the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we look at the slide here, so safety needs. So long as a child feels, and for an adult as well, this goes for the parent and for the child, so long as they know they've got enough food, enough water within their fridge and their cupboards, that they're not completely bare, they've got enough there, and that they've got enough warmth coming in, and they feel quite rested again, or enough sleep. And the next stage is all about providing a level of safety. And the way that one of the ways this could be done is through a daily consistent routine. And I've got an example of what that might look like. So this is something that you can try and incorporate into your lives. The next one that calms anxiety is something called simplification and the power of less. And especially now, given that a lot of people are much more conscious about spending a lot of money and buying stuff. So rather than spending money, it's about spending quality time with your loved ones, and specifically your children, but also your partners if you have partners. So by that, I mean spending minimum, I'd say, 20 minutes per child, giving them undivided attention, attunement and attachment. So this might look like reading them their favourite book, playing with them their favourite game, watching with them something on TV. So I'm not asking for hours and hours, but if you can spend a couple of hours with your children, quality, great. But if you can't, if you are unable to, 20 minutes. And rather than something to think about for the future as well, is rather than spending lots of money and buying lots of stuff, for a child that can be quite overwhelming, having loads and loads of toys. And yes, we buy lots of things for our loved ones because we want them to feel loved. But for a child, if they have loads of toys, they can find it a bit overwhelming to know what to play with, to know what to choose. So it's actually having less, be it like having 5 or 6 toys, and they're more likely to play with those toys rather than not playing with any of them because they're just too stressed as to what to do, what to play with. It can actually lead to some anxiety. So spending quality time with your children, which will then lead to a feeling of connection and also will calm anxiety. And what I will say is, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by any of this and see it as a mountain. It's about small baby steps and just small chunks, because this will lead to a feeling of being capable of doing it. So rather than thinking, gosh, my child's got hundreds of toys, how am I going to be able to declutter all of this, and where am I going to take it to, because all the charity shops are closed at the moment. It's perhaps like spending 20 minutes 1 week, getting rid of 5 of those things, putting in a bag, ready to give to a charity shop when they reopen. So just little things, little steps. Okay, so here is an example of what a day may look like for you. So you might take something from this that you think, actually I could incorporate that, or it's totally flexible because everyone's different, everyone's got their own lives. So, you know, for you it might be different things, for your child it might be different, but this is just an example. So the first thing when you wake up in the morning, taking in some deep breaths. So I recommend 5, it could be 4, it could just be 1. Taking a deep breath in, getting enough oxygen, and also water. I'd recommend having some water by your bed, so having some water when you wake up so that you're hydrated first thing, you're kind of detoxifying your body. And then what I recommend, I appreciate that this is more challenging for some people, but is doing something relaxing for yourself and your child, doing something relaxing first thing in the morning if you can. So this might look like reading a chapter of a book for you, reading a chapter of a book for your child. It might mean writing in a journal for 5 minutes, writing down 5 gratitudes, so 5 things you've got to be grateful for, doing that every morning, your child doing the same. It might mean meditating first thing, you know, 5-10 minutes. Whatever it is for you, it's different for different people. Or it might mean doing some exercise first thing. Everybody's different. I'd also recommend hydrating yourself throughout the day, so drinking, they say 8 glasses of water, but you know, enough water to keep you going, because that is the petrol for our systems. So rather than putting, like petrol is for cars, we have water. So that's kind of what gives us energy, as does a healthy diet. So you might want to, so that your children know, and for you, have a set time that you have breakfast for, so everyone knows, okay, 9:30 you have to be in your clothes, washed, cleaned your teeth in order to come downstairs and have some breakfast. And each day it might be the same thing, or it could be different things, totally up to you. And I'd recommend minimum 30 minutes exercise per day. So that might be a dog walk, it might be a run, it might be going to the park to play football with your child, and a similar time each day so that they know to expect that. If you could do that every day, that'd be great. You might want to have a certain time of a day where the child gets to watch something on TV for 30 minutes. So each day they kind of know this is what happens at this time, and it provides that sense of security. Then healthy lunch, similar time each day. Healthy dinner, similar time each day. And then the end of the day, it'd be brilliant if the end of the day looked very similar to the beginning of the day. So if they were to go to bed for like 8 o'clock, you know that they've got to go up, they've got to have a wash, have a bath, then they're going to get a book read to them for 20 minutes and then be in bed. And again, I recommend 9 hours sleep, because sleep is so crucial, especially in these times for our children and for ourselves. So making sure that we get adequate amounts of sleep, so that we feel rested in order to go into the next day. So we might need more sleep now than we do normally, and that's okay. Right, so I've kind of whizzed through all of that, but if you found any of that quite fascinating and you want to find out more, the good news is that Find Your Spark has been awarded some funding in order to support parents with 4 sessions of something called Brief Solution Focused therapy or coaching. And I'll explain that in a bit, what that might look like in a moment. So that's one-to-one intensive support, and we're also partnered with Triple P, which you may have come across, who are currently offering online parenting program sessions. So I think that's between 6 and 8 sessions. So also on top of the 4 sessions that you'll get with me, you can also get access to some online parenting sessions completely free of charge to parents, completely free of charge. So if that's something that you think, I could really do with some of that at the moment, that would really be useful to me, that would really help, please do get in touch with me by my email and I will forward you the referral form. Right, I wanted to end this webinar by sharing a poem that I recently read, which I think illustrates what I have said within this webinar, and I think it's really poignant given these interesting times that we're living in, and it also kind of illustrates a bit about what brief solution focused therapy looks like. So here goes. During difficult times, you may move forward in small steps. Do what you have to do, but little by little. Don't think about the future, not even what might happen tomorrow. Wash the dishes, take off the dust, write a letter, make some soup. Do you see? You are moving forward step by step. Take a step and stop. Get some rest. Compliment yourself. Take another step, then another one. You won't notice, but your steps will grow bigger and bigger. And this is what brief solution focused therapy does. It enables you to take small steps toward a brighter future, and therefore you're more able to see a bigger perspective. So I thought that summed it up quite nicely, and I thought it was quite apt for these interesting times that we're living in. So do let me know if I can help you with any of this. And if I do get to hear from you, great. If I don't, I hope you've found this useful, and I wish you all the very best for the future. Okay, take care.